We're recording. Hello, hi.
Oh,
How are you, Jordan?
yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Oh, it's going to turn that off.
God, it's not a good start.
You can restart if you want. This is our
It's
fourth
fine.
time.
We'll keep it in. We'll keep it in bloopers.
Alright.
Thank you so much for doing this. You are my first guest in this segment of the website.
Excited
So thank you so much for doing it. So Jordan, we've been best friends for what, 15 years, 14
too
years?
long. Too long.
For a very long time. We've been best friends for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I feel like I know you pretty well, and I feel like you know me very, very well. So this is going to be very interesting for me to see what your choices are for what I'm going
I
to.
reckon you'll know them. I reckon you'll know them.
I hope so. I hope so. But get into it then. So Jordan Berni,
Alright.
what is the first album you're going to give me that has impacted your life?
So when I was thinking of this, I was trying to think about, because I'm a big hip hop fan now, and I was trying to think about the transition of how I got here and picked 3 albums that I think were like the points in that sort of transition. Because early on it was like Arctic Monkeys, Imagine Dragons. It was some indie stuff, but my music choice definitely changed since then. So I was trying to find ones that sort of partition that. So say the first one probably have to be Eminem Recovery. It was a good album.
Ooh, Eminem Recovery. Interesting. I'm actually in the midst of writing little something about that album. Very
Oh,
interesting. Eminem Recovery. I'm going to write this down. Okay, that's a good start. That's a good start. Okay, so Eminem Recovery, 2010,
yeah, around then.
2000, 2010. I'm pretty sure because I think Relapse was 2009. Um, I know what I think about this album. So why have you chosen this album?
I was trying to think back to the first sort of hip hop rap that it was, and it was definitely Eminem. It was sort of a choice between, because I'm not really an album sort of person. I'm more a pick a few tracks off the album I like, and I'll run them into the ground, listen to them until I hate everything about them. So
Okay.
it was just trying to find one sort of album that encompassed that, and I had to go with Eminem with Recovery. I think it was just good hits on that, and I think that was one of the first ones that I torrented back in the day.
Oh God! Don't say anything's gonna get you in trouble, mate.
I found it.
Would you say there's a standout song or standout few songs on that album?
Wait, let me
That
bring the
impacted
practice
you.
up. I don't wanna forget any that might have been like, I don't upset anyone by forgetting some favourites.
For me personally, on that album, "Cold Wind Blows," "No Love" with Lil Wayne, and
Yeah,
"You're Never Over."
that was my initial one, was No Love.
The
Cinderella Man, Spacebound. Oh, now I'm reading them, mate. I just want to go back. Oh yeah, take back
the
2010.
What interests me a lot about No Love is that Eminem's not typically a collaborative artist on his own projects. And when I heard originally around the time this album was coming out that there was a Lil Wayne collaboration, I was very, very skeptical. I was thinking,
I'm
especially,
surprised. I thought you'd be all over that. I thought you'd be all over.
I love Lil Wayne now. I mean, I could talk for
You
so long
top
about Lil
10%
Wayne
fan.
now, but back then, I was very skeptical. Not just because of that though. I was skeptical about Eminem as a whole, because to me personally, Relapse was a terrible album, and not just by Eminem's standards, by album standards in general. And I was so disappointed by the Relapse album that when I saw obviously Recovery was being brought out, I must admit I didn't have high hopes, and I saw the collaboration list. I thought the Little Wayne track sounds interesting. I didn't expect much, but this album for me personally really blew me away.
Yeah, well, he acknowledged. I can't remember what the song was, but he acknowledged that Relapse was a bit wasn't great.
Yeah, it was going through very different periods of his life, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoy this album, is because this album kind of feels a bit like an apology letter. So he acknowledged himself how bad Relapse was, and he was going through a very different time in his life. And this album comes out. There's a lot of lyrics on that album. I can't remember from the top of my head of him acknowledging Relapse, acknowledging the criticism that he had around that time. And to me, this whole album just felt so personal, which was strange because there's a lot of chart-topping hits on it, and usually on an album like that, it's not a very personal album. The songs that they're aiming to hit the billboards and to hit the charts, but interesting album though. I'm glad you chose that. Actually, I'm glad you chose that.
Mate, I've scrolled further down the track list. I'm gonna have to give "Love the Way You Lie" a shout out as well.
Yeah,
like that one.
That's actually one of the ones I didn't like so much.
I think there was a fair few collabs in this.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a fair few. But yeah, I feel like definitely should listen to these albums again before.
You got to. The reason why I'm in the midst of writing something about it is I've just bought the vinyl. So this will be my vinyl of the month that I'll write a little thing about.
I'm excited to hear on next semester.
Okay. Let's move on then, and we won't dwell so long on that album. So what's the next album that's impacted you?
So it's not an album as such, but it's E-Double's Freestyle Fridays.
Bringing
it back, bringing it old school.
I knew you were gonna go for E-Dubble, and that's good.
Yeah, when you added the Slash mixtape, I was like, this guy knows what's up.
I knew you were going to go for E-Dubble, and that's good because I don't think, especially now in 2020, not many people are going to know about E-Dubble. So do you want to kind of
rest in peace, E-Dubble?
Kind of explain what E-Dubble was about.
He sort of just I found him on YouTube through some like COD montage or something. Like they had him as the backing track, and he'd basically get beats, and every Friday he'd release like a new song, like freestyling over it. And yeah, just some of them were bangers. It was the first sort of hip hop, I'd say, because Eminem's more rap, and this was more like moving into hip hop with like more lyrical beats and catchy hooks. And yeah, it was good. It was good times. It just, you know, you look back on like the childhood ones. That's sort of what stood out to me. That sort of mixtapes.
There's definitely a nostalgic feel about E-Dubble, and it's very strange because like you were saying, he came into popularity through gaming, which is strange because obviously because there was no copyright attached to many of his songs at the time. Obviously, like you said, he was using a lot of YouTube videos and stuff.
I remember there was one. There was one like Call of Duty creator who all of his montages were two E-Dubble songs.
E-Dubble songs. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I got a shout out in one of the songs. But anyway, I tell you what was sort of weird as well is because I'd say like a lesser known artist that when other people do know them, it feels like it's like an instant connection. When I studied abroad in America, I had to drop that in, and when I was there, my roommate opposite me hadn't spoken to him at this point, but he was playing "Be a King" by E-Dubble.
Oh, "Be a King."
I had to listen out twice. I was like, "Is this it?" But and then I literally went over to his room and I was like, "That's it." And that was it. Then we were friends for the rest of the year.
Did we just become gang? Are we best friends now?
That was it. Yeah, that was it. Rest of the year we sorted all because of that. He turned out to be a good lad.
One thing I remember about E-Dubble is that I seem to remember his mixtapes were very big mixtapes. Like I remember that there were lots of tracks on the mixtapes.
I never got them all together. Mine would I go on YouTube. See, he's got a new one or whatever. Then it was YouTube to MP3 converter. I never got them as a collection. It was always just song by song, pick them out.
I'm glad you chose E-Dubble. Do you have is there a particular song in mind?
Be a King's the one that always comes to mind.
Yeah.
It's
good. Very good. Okay, well, moving on then very swiftly. Your third album that's impacted you.
So the third one I had to go for KOD.
Oh, okay.
I think that was my sort of that was the first big album that I could think of that I listened to all the way through and just had it on repeat. I'd say the only other one that came close was Damn by Kendrick, but I think I went with that because it's J.Cole and I feel like I'm a lot closer to all of his music, especially with Dreamville and that. So yeah, so I went for KOD. So that was the big one on me in my head.
Another album I have on vinyl as well, KOD. Yeah, KOD is an interesting album. It's definitely, it's such a different direction to his other album.
Yeah.
It's a very different direction. I remember at the time when I first listened to it, I wasn't entirely sold on it yet. Like, not because it was bad or anything like that, because it was so different.
It takes an adjustment. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so different to what I was expecting him to come out with. Do you have a standout track on that album?
I have to go. I like Count It Up, but my favorite line is just like the cheesiest part. Is it goes, the strongest drug of them all, love. And every time I just cringe at it, but like it makes it just the delay's like, and love.
It's very. I mean, the vinyl art, like when you open up the vinyl, the art inside is very interesting. There's lots of different children being influenced by lots of different kind of vices. There's lots of different artworks of children.
I thought it was kids on drugs.
Yes, well. Yeah. It's very, very interesting. Again, another out there album. I thought you'd go for a J.Cole. I didn't think. I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't know if you were going to go for.
Well, I feel like that was the first one that got me fully into it, and then I go back. Like a lot of the older albums came, or like older hip hop albums in general came after that point for me, because that was when I went back and like fully like got into it, listening to more. So even his older ones, like Forest Hill Drives, they all came after I heard KOD.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Dreamville was a huge album for me as well. But again, that came after when I was already in. So I feel like I didn't have as big an impact as that sort of album did.
J.Cole is also one of these hip hop artists that has just progressed so much. Like if you listen to Friday Night Lights, I believe his mixtape was called. The kind of the vibes on it. If you listen to his like 2011, 2010 releases, compared to now, the progression as an artist is insane, you know. And you touched there obviously on Dreamville. I know for a fact you really enjoyed the latest Dreamville release, didn't you?
Yeah, I was a big fan of that. I just like I like everyone in Dreamville. Shout out when we went to go see Earth Gang.
Yeah, we did. We went to see Earth Gang in Birmingham. Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like they fit my genre of sort of hip hop that I like, with like the lyrical choruses, not like super quick flows. You can understand what they're saying. There's sort of like story driven parts of it. Obviously, there's songs in the album I don't like. There's songs that I do like.
Yeah, of course.
Overall, I think it's a solid album.
And of course, they've just gone platinum. They've just gone platinum. That album, Revenge of the Dreamers 3, just gone platinum. 43, maybe I'm making that number up. 43 different artists contribute on the album, or something along those lines, which is insane.
There was a documentary about it as well that was interesting watch.
Very good then. Three very good albums, and I'm glad that you kind of took us on a bit of a journey with where you're going. You know.
Yeah. Welcome to my life.
Thank you so much for doing this. I found that very interesting.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
No problem. Well, thank you for being my very first guest. E-Dubble, Eminem, and J.Cole. It's
a combo.
Hey, if they brought out a collaborative album, would you think it would be good?
Well, that'd be fucking weird because E-Double's dead, but I'd listen.
Oh, he is. Okay, maybe I'll edit this little bit out. I feel a bit embarrassed now. All right, mate. Well, thank you very much for taking part. You've been good sport. Thank you.
Cheers.
Take care.